Is this comedy? Does this come under comedy?
It's this, partly, anyway.
I'm going to find it.
Okay, I've got it here. I have got it here, but...
yeah, I'm just going to find it. Yeah, I don't know what section it's under.
Right, it's under Comic Theatre.
Yeah, comic.
Right.
Is it under theatre or...?
Yeah.
Theatre?
Yeah. Okay, while you're finding that, I shall start.
Okay.
Good evening,
Hello.
YouTube. Ian and Jane. I've called her Joan in the last video. So
And I've been Joe.
Was it Joe? Yeah. Well, it's all beginning with J, so that's all right. We're reviewing the Edinburgh Fringe. This is day 4. This is the last show of the day. We've seen 4 shows today. So we are a bit punch drunk, actually. I can't quite remember how many shows we've seen while we've been here, but it's...
No. Well, we'll count them
at some point, and you have to watch another video to find that out. This was the last show of the day, which was at 9:30 this evening, and this was the sex life of puppets. Now, we like puppets generally, and I just fancied this. To be fair, I didn't, I'll read a little bit of synopsis thing so that you get a feel for it. So the company is Blind Summit. The makers of Fringe hits, The Table and Citizen Puppet. Now I did wonder whether I think we've seen them before in one of those other shows. I don't recognise The Table, but I think we saw Citizen Puppet. When they came out, and they looked very cool. There's four puppeteers, and they're obviously all dressed in black, and they looked really cool when they first came out. And I just got the impression that we have seen them before. Anyway, we'd have to probably look back. He said, they pull back the covers on puppet sexuality in contemporary Britain. What do puppets look like naked? Fancy some no strings sex for half an hour. And what are they doing with your hands? What are you doing with your hands? Not so much the birds and the bees, more nuts and bolts of puppet intimacy. And then we've got some reviews. I thought this was absolutely hilarious. Now, and the thing I wanted to know, and I've just literally been looking up, and the way that they do it is, most of it is done with interviews.
Exactly.
Now, I wanted to know if those interviews were real, because they seem to me to be real.
Yes, I agree.
And I've just looked on their website, and it doesn't tell us.
Right.
I mean, if we bump into them, we may ask them, I think.
I mean, the conversations, because some they did as single sort of...
talking head type.
Yeah. But the majority of them, I think there were there 8, 9 in all?
Yeah, there was, and we had a little, after each one you had a number and who the puppets were.
And the scenario.
It
was sort of, there was a little scenario. Yeah. It was almost, you could, it was one of those situations where you could, there might have been a filmed dialogue and the puppets just sort of spoke to the dialogue that was being played, but actually the puppeteers did the voicing. But I mean, it was so realistic.
And
the conversations.
The conversations were absolutely superb, but actually, because all 4 of the puppeteers took on character roles at different times, and I was noticing that. But some of there was a couple that were clearly from sort of Brooklyn area of New York, and it was their accents and the way that they spoke. And interestingly, you didn't always have, there was 2 male puppeteers and 2 female puppeteers. You didn't always have like the male puppeteers always doing the male dialogue. They mixed that up a bit, and that was actually I thought that was really quite clever.
So they had, I'm trying to think now, of course, what the scenarios were, but you had a couple where she was complaining he never listened to her.
That's right, yeah.
There was another older couple that had sort of met later in life.
Yeah.
That was very funny.
I think they all were.
They were all amusing. There was just one that was slightly sinister.
The guy on his own.
Yeah, and I didn't.
No,
I don't know, and I'm not quite sure what the message was there.
I preferred, rather than the sort of talking heads ones where it was just one puppet, I actually preferred the ones where there was couples.
Yes.
They just, for me, seemed to work better. They were the one bits that were. The whole thing was really funny, but they were the bits that were funnier, I thought, because of the interaction between them.
And even though it was funny, because and they did so much appear to be based on real interviews.
Yeah.
You know, they were based on people who were older, so had had experience.
Yeah.
But you know, it's just like real life. You know, when you say some things at face value, they're actually very funny.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes they're quite absurd.
And the comic timing was just absolutely superb.
So it was extreme. You know, it was really entertaining. And then it just. Then the final scene. I'm not going to describe it. I'm not going to describe it, but it's very different from all the previous scenarios.
Yeah.
And it has to be seen to be believed.
It does. It really does.
Doesn't leave anything to the imagination. That's all I'm going to say.
So it's on at 9:30 every evening. Again, it's in the Pleasance Courtyard in Beyond. It's on until the 25th. Let's see if there's any dates that are not doing it. Yes, there's a couple of Wednesdays. They're not doing the 7th and the 14th. They are doing the 2-for-1s. This video won't go up until Monday, which is tomorrow, the 5th. So you need to get in quick if you're going to go for the 2-for-1s. But it's on right the way through to the 25th, and the regular price, if it tells me, is £16, £14 concession.
Right. Okay. And the other interesting thing was the demographic of the audience. There was, you know, quite young, sort of late teens were there, but then there was an awful lot of older people, sort of in their 70s.
Predominantly men, I think, as well. There was a good demographic, and we were talking to.
Yeah, I mean, it was really mixed.
Yeah, right next to me was a group of youngish girls, and before the show we were just talking about. They'd just arrived and things that we'd seen, and they were asking about us doing this, really. So we were having a chat to them. So they were certainly in their 20s, and there was probably about five or six of them in that group. But when we were stood in the queue, we were noticing a lot of silver-haired gentlemen.
Yeah, I mean, and we are silver-haired, so I mean, but there was, there
seemed to be quite a group of just guys. There wasn't any women.
Interesting.
Maybe it's just the way it worked tonight, I think.
Yeah. But a really, mixed demographic of people. I don't know why. I'm not surprised by that. I'm just saying that it, how many stars?
I think I'm going to go for a 4. I'm going to go for it. It's a good 4.
Yeah.
It is a really good 4. So definitely worth seeing.
Very different.
But, it is different.
Very different.
Yeah. But no, it was. I'm glad I picked it, really.
Yeah. It was a.
And I didn't quite know what to expect, if I'm honest.
But I mean, the conversations that the puppets have are fascinating. I can't believe that they're not based on real conversations. And again, I'm repeating myself, but it's a reflection on life.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Really good.
So thanks very much. I think we've got 3 shows tomorrow, so we'll see you then.
All right.
Cheers. All the best.
Bye.
Cheers. Bye bye.